Hey, welcome to the Two Dudes Talk Movies podcast. I'm Cam.
I'm Luke.
And today we have a very special guest, a professor of mine who's been more than a professor. He's helped me outside the classroom, even when I haven't had his classes. He actually helped me last week when I was going through it. We have my professor, Greg Cooper. How are you doing today, sir? Or it's evening time. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Happy to be here.
So, Mr. Cooper, who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? What do I do? That's a really great question. Even at my age, it's a good question. So I am the assistant professor of photojournalism here at Eastern Illinois. This is my 4th academic year. And other than being happy as a teacher, I really like to make pictures.
All right.
Oh, yeah, and I'm a film buff.
Yes, yeah. We talk every once in a while about a random movie. He brought up, what was that one movie he brought like last year?
Ishtar?
Yeah, Ishtar. I think it was like one of the worst movies ever. I
was just throwing that out there to see if you take the bait.
But we got him on this year before I graduated, and we talked about it briefly, like I think last week, and then I don't know, you brought it up and that you wanted to be on. I was like, yeah, why not? And you a couple of days later, you brought up a list about maybe like 6 or 7 movie ideas, and then you settled down on this one. So why this one?
Well, what is this one?
They read the title. Eyes Wide Shut. But yeah, why Eyes Wide Shut?
Eyes Wide Shut. That's a really good question. I really struggled making a choice. Thank you by the way, for having me here and
welcome.
allowing me to make a pick. But besides this being my favorite Kubrick film, I really wanted to talk about Kubrick. Mm-hmm. He is without a doubt one of my favorite filmmakers, directors. He's just really incredible. So this is just a good pathway to that discussion.
All right. But yeah, as we already stated, we're talking about Eyes Wide Shut this episode, which stars Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise and Sidney Pollack. How do you say it?
Pollack.
Poland. What he said. But what the film is about is Nicole Kidman. Let's see their characters' names. Plays Alice. Tom plays Bill, and kind of well-off family. Bill is a doctor, and Alice has thoughts and dreams of other men, one man in particular when they were on the ship, and she tells Bill that, and he seeks, I don't know if I want to say he seeks revenge, but he just feels like he has to.
I think gratification is probably a better word.
Yeah. And he wanders the streets of New York where he gets into. He wanders around and finds random things that happen in New York. I don't know what happens in New York, but I feel like this is pretty average New York night, right?
It is, yeah.
And until he reunites with an old friend who he went to medical school with 10 years ago, and he tells him about this kind of secret society club thing, and then he gets him in, and it turns out to be a sex cult, and he gets in way over his head. Is that the saying? Yeah, he gets in way over his head. And yeah, so that's pretty much how the story is. I'll keep it like that. I don't want to spoil too much. I'll let Luke spoil it, because if you haven't seen it,
about every time.
If you haven't seen the movie a year after it's come out, you're kind of late to the party, and you deserve to get it spoiled. But yeah, that's pretty much what the movie's about. So I guess we can start with general thoughts. Mr. Cooper, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Well, to me, it's always going to be about the visual. I'm attracted to movies partially because of who directs them or who the actors are, but Kubrick's approach in filmmaking just astounds me, particularly the lighting. He's just a master of conceiving ways to light scenes, mostly with ambient light, that just creates just a sense of awe for me. I feel like a cat in catnip when I see really well-lit scenes in photographs or in films. And I guess initially that's probably what really got my attention for this particular movie.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed he has like a really harsh blue when it's supposed to be nighttime coming in through the windows and everything. And that it looks unnatural, but it's nighttime, so it fits. Any type of blue that comes into a film, for the most part, it fits, and it works well here. And it's Christmas time, which gives reason for all these, like you said, ambient lights and different assortment that makes it look good. Luke, what are your thoughts on the film?
I'll third that, I guess, since you also agreed. But the lighting definitely was one of the things that I wrote down that stood out in the cinematography of it all. the interiors, like you said, with being around Christmas time, all have these like Christmas lights and stuff hanging up, so it's got this warmer lighting tone to it. And then at night, there's like the harsher blue, so you get some nice contrast and different visuals. Are you peering at my notes right now?
No.
Oh, I thought you were like staring up. But
Oh, no, I'm just looking.
But yeah, so there's that. Some of the camera movements are nice too. There's a lot of good like tracking and panning shots, which I appreciate. Acting was better than I thought it'd be. I didn't.
Really?
Yeah. I like after I saw who they were, I was like, eh. And then I watched it and I was like, hey, pretty good.
Really?
So yeah.
You thought they were gonna be like under or below average acting? These are like
I thought it was just gonna be like all right. I didn't think I was gonna have any like outstanding thoughts on it.
Okay.
But like I was pleasantly surprised by it. The like more level-headed tone that like Tom Cruise brings to the table compared to Nicole Kidman's character. So there was some nice contrast there. The score is also pretty good. There's like a little, there's like a mysterious and suspenseful vibe to it.
Piano.
Yeah. And then design was one of the other things I mentioned too. It's not like prevalent. I think the note that I know I'm reading it, but the note that I had here was like the masks, I think were my favorite part of the design. Mask characters will always be cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
But like each mask, as they get more involved with this secret society, is like well crafted and uniquely designed from another, so they don't all look the exact same and copy and pasted. So there was that good. I don't really want to get into the cons yet.
I was waiting on it, but okay, we'll get there in due time. I'm a fan of this movie. I was really hoping we talked about that movie this week. I don't remember my first time watching it, but I was okay not knowing the ending or what everything was supposed to mean. And I think I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times now, which is kind of a lot for me because I really don't rewatch movies unless like my favorite ones, like The Dark Knight. I watch that or the trilogy. I watch that like once a year. Mm-hmm. But for me to watch this 3 or 4 times, I clearly really like it. Like you said, lighting's really well done, well lit. I think the pacing is weird. It's very it's class. It's I was gonna say gendered. Its genre is a melodrama, or like subgenre is like a melodrama, and I thought looking back now, I'm noticing how slowly paced this movie is, but I don't mind it because even though it's slow, there's something happening, or like there's something to look forward to, or what are we gonna come out of? What's gonna come out of this situation right here? And I don't know, that was just something new I picked up this time. What else? Acting was weird because it's so slow paced, but it works. And I didn't think it was gonna be a bad performance, but I was looking at it differently now because I have to talk about it. So there's that. And I really like the conspiracy behind it. That's my favorite part of the movie. I'm really looking forward to talking about that at the end of I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about it at the end of the episode, but I'm not a big conspiracy theories guy either, but this is one of the ones I'm really into. So those are my takes. That's my take. Luke.
Yeah. Well,
what's the cons?
It's that time of the episode where I get to the cons. Like on my list, I have a pros, cons, and then other category, so I just go down the list. But it happens to just so be that usually every episode there's some con. I don't think there's been very many where I didn't have any, except maybe like Interstellar.
Yeah.
I changed my mind after talking about it.
You did change your mind?
Yeah. Because like whenever we're talking about like the early time jumps in space and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, the only thing that I have like against this movie, like you said, is the pacing of it. It's weird, but for me, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a fan of it. There, like the last 40 minutes were the prime example of this for me, where it felt like it just kept dragging a little too much, and some of that was influenced by like the line delivery and the dialogue. There was a lot at the start, or I guess the majority of the movie, where somebody would say something, but the line that they say can be repeated as a question. And so the other character in that scene would repeat it, and then they would pause for a second, and then they would keep talking. So at first I didn't even pay any mind to it. Like, it's just a normal thing. That's how people talk sometimes. If you're surprised, you'd be like, really? You take a minute and think about it, right? So I'm not thinking of it. But then as that last 40 minutes kick in and it still keeps happening, every time it happens, I'm like, you could have excluded that line of question and kept moving on. So didn't vibe with me as much. And then a minor gripe with the plot. See, now I don't want to say it because I fear I'm going to spoil it.
That's what you do, Luke. Spoil. It's all right though.
All right.
The movie's however 99. Yeah.
I don't know. I can see you judge. Everybody's judging me. It's fine. But anyway, but Sidney Pollock's character, the moment he showed up on screen, I was like, I bet he's in on it. Like, I don't know. It's just, I got a vibe.
Okay.
It's just like, I bet he's in on it. And then it showed up and I was like, wow, I wonder who could have guessed that one.
Wait, that was really early in the movie. You're talking about when he welcomed them into his home for the Christmas party?
Yeah.
You figured he was already in on it.
In the sex cult before we
Yeah,
even
just like something about it like felt off. I was like, I bet he knows. Because like I had a general idea that there was like some cool thing going into this movie. Like I had a rough idea of what it was about and I knew that was a part of it. So like as I watched it and I saw him on there, I was like, I just bet he's in on it. And I don't know if that's just because I've seen other movies that have a similar thing. Like Court of Owls is probably the easiest example, where in that comic line from Batman, there's a character that'll show up every now and then. And at the like later on, and it's revealed he's part of that. So like I don't know if I'm just seeing that and then seeing it play out a second time here, but before Court of Owls got made. So like maybe I don't know. It's just easy for me to point it out.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, that's not like a bad thing to know ahead of time. I'm just really bad at guessing endings. I really don't even try to because I'll spoil it for myself if I really want to figure. Excuse me. If I really yeah, I'm just not good with guessing any endings, and it sucks if I do figure it out. And the only way I know is if it's really bad. Yeah. There was a Tyler Perry movie. I forget the name of it. I think I watched like 2 summers ago. Terrible twist. I mean, like it was. You knew it at the beginning. I'm not a fan of like Tyler Perry movies in general. But that's a whole different thing.
And I don't even think like for this, I was trying to guess it.
I
wasn't looking for it. I just saw him on screen. And I was like,
but
yeah.
How do you know he's in on? Like, how do you know what he's in on? Like,
we don't get the sex code till like an hour and a half into the movie.
I've seen like on Instagram, like on Reels, because I do that every now and then before I go to bed.
You spoiled it for yourself.
No, like I didn't know anything about the film. I got like an out of context clip of like the cinematography group, like as they're in that circle in that. So I don't know anything other than they're standing in a circle. It's a cult. Okay. So I see that, and then I know like prior coming into it, Eyes Wide Shut has a sex cult in it, and then I saw him, and I was like, surely he's got to be.
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of derail the conversation here because I find this very fascinating. You've both now said sex cult.
Yeah.
How do you know it's a sex cult?
Are they not having sex very often through that
It's
cult?
not, that's a good point, but that's all we know of it. We know it for.
Okay, that's what you know it for, right? So it's mysterious, obviously. Yeah. There's a bunch of individuals all wearing masks, most of them wearing hoods, and there's some sort of pomp and circumstance that goes on. And yes, there's sex involved. But I don't know. I interpret it more as it has more to do with power than it does with sex.
I like to say it as it's a sex cult for the higher powers. I like to say it, that kind of goes into this conspiracy theory with like Epstein's Island thing. And like just a bunch of A-list people. And, he's he's a doctor. He's in a higher tax bracket. And, the guy he went to medical school with, he was in it from 10 years ago. His friend who he helped save the hooker at the beginning. And then there was a line in there where he's like, if you knew who else was there, you wouldn't be able to sleep the same. And I like to think of it as, I don't know if this really answers your question, but I just like to, maybe it's just his closest friends or people that he's closest to that are part of this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. It's the people who populate those events, the people with the masks on are certainly the upper echelon of New York society, probably well beyond that. They have to have that kind of resources to pull that kind of stuff off. But I just can't help but wonder. It's like, I don't think Kubrick intended it to be a sex cult. I think he wanted some ambiguity there to have a little bit of mystery, but my suspicion would be that it was more about the powerful and what they are able to pull off on their own with no regard to anybody else.
For sure. Maybe I shouldn't. It's a cult that has sex. You think that's a better way to phrase it?
I think so.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm on the same page as you. That's just how I thought of it.
You described it.
Yeah, just a sex cult with A-list or like powerful people in New York.
Sure.
But
I guess we're kind of on that topic. You should probably talk about it because I know you want to.
Oh, the conspiracy?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. So this movie came out in July of 1999, and Kubrick.
It was released. Officially released in July 99.
Yes, and Kubrick died in March of 1999.
Yes,
and there's a conspiracy that this movie is based on real people and based on like the powerful people in the media at the time, or just people in the world. And Kubrick made this movie about them, and higher ups were kind of worried that they'd get exposed, and I think they tried to stop the production of the movie and not get it canceled, but they didn't want it to come out. But Kubrick died right before it came out of a heart attack. But I learned that you can like give somebody something or give somebody a shot or something that just makes it look like it's a heart attack to stop the production of it, or just make it look like it's a heart attack. So that's what I like to think, that this movie was not supposed to come out, and it's the way of higher ups trying to keep their secret, or just trying to keep their secret. And there's another conspiracy that, or maybe this is a fact, I don't know, but there's an alternate ending of this movie, and not a lot of people have seen it. And I saw on Reddit that this guy saw it, and he's like, he saw it a couple years ago, he's freaked out. That, do you mind if I say the alternate ending?
Sure.
I think I know what you're talking about, but keep going. I might be mistaken.
I think there's multiple endings, but the one I know is the most popular is that Bill and Alice, they kind of sell their kid to the sex cult, and the people think of it as, not, I keep saying sex cult, you got me thinking
Cult with sex involved.
Yes, I'll just say the cult. And a lot of people like to say that the cult just grooms people, grooms women in that society, so they thought that the family was going to put their daughter in that. So
I don't know if I heard about that one specifically, but I do know something with like human trafficking was at one point considered for it. And I do remember hearing about like there was an original alternate ending that didn't make the final cut.
Right.
But I didn't hear any of that statistic, so that's new information for me.
Well, I mean, the whole scene with the guy who runs the costume shop, who was totally against his daughter entertaining two Asian gentlemen, saying he's going to call the cops, and the next day he's like, hey, maybe Dr. Bill, you'd like to spend some time with my daughter. And totally changed his mind within 24 hours. I mean, that gets to your point about human trafficking, and that, I mean, probably happens, right?
Yeah. I think, what's that one movie? It just came out. It's like a Kinds of Freedom.
Haven't heard of that one.
It's the trafficking movie. It was about I don't think they wanted that one to come out either. It was about trying to stop child sex trafficking. Sounds of Freedom. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, Sound of Freedom?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. So, but yeah, I like to say, have you guys seen Molly's Game?
Yes.
It's about
yeah.
Yeah, I want to.
True story.
Yeah, and that's about actors. I don't know. Was it? I think it was A-list actors.
A-list actors.
Yeah, and they were part of some big gambling thing, and it was supposed to be a secret thing. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, they were a part of it. So, yeah, just stuff like that. You know, just the Secret Society, Epstein Island, Molly's Game type of thing. I like to say this, or classify it with that type of.
So the conspiracy that you're all speaking of, and in my research or thinking about this movie, I haven't heard any of this. I do find it kind of fascinating. But one of the things that has come out about this is he screened a copy of this film less than a week before he died to Tom and Nicole, so that they could see it, and it was a pretty much done rough cut, so that they could sign nudity releases. And some Warner Brothers executives were in that screening. So he dies less than a week later. That was in March of 99. Well, the executives took over post-production.
Yeah.
Something Kubrick would have done on his own. And they're like, oh, no problem. It's mostly done anyway. We're just color grading and maybe some audio, I don't know, whatever. But the NC-17 rating came out, and they were saying, look, we're going to have to give this an NC-17 rating. And of course, Warner Brothers said, no way. We can't have this. Because then it cuts the number of audience members that can actually watch the film. So they left it to his estate, meaning his wife, to decide how the film was going to get cut so it could be released. And the choice was made to, I don't know, dumb it down so that it would make an R rating. And that included digital effects.
Digital effects of just
covering up some of the scenes in the orgy.
Yeah, I noticed that there was like sex going on right here, but there was a person in front.
There was always somebody standing in front.
Yeah. Thought that was kind of interesting. But you can show, I guess that's not, you can show a naked body from the front and the back, but you can't show intercourse. I guess that makes sense.
Well,
I
we could
guess.
probably spend an entire episode talking about the rating systems.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think NC-17 ratings are kind of interesting.
I feel like they're rare. I feel like I've never even seen that many.
I've only seen one ever that I've known of, and that was Kids. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's that movie's
Probably
great.
a better thing
Probably a better thing.
that we never heard of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a movie. I'll say that.
It's a movie.
It is a movie. So you don't think you think the pacing is I think like we could say it's objectively slow.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think it didn't work for you because you already knew what was happening?
No, it was mainly the line delivery that made it slow. Like
Okay.
leading up in that first act, we'll say, right?
Mhm.
Fine, whatever. You're kind of slowly getting introduced to these characters as like some more mysterious things start cropping up. That's when those like repeating dialogue lines appear, and it makes sense there because like you're inquiring about it. It's like if somebody is like, he went to the mall, and you're like, he went to the mall. Like you can shift the line into a question, and it's that sort of thing. So it feels natural there because like it's mysterious. I don't know what it is. You're inquiring, and then that second act is kind of mostly involved with the cult once he's like finally there. Is the way I would kind of split it up. You're roughly about halfway through the movie at that point. I hit the mic, but roughly about halfway through the film there. So there's a little bit less of that, but I'm more intrigued by the cult now, where it's like you're navigating in the thick of it, literally, where it's like, what is this place? Who are these people? Who's this mysterious masked lady that keeps trying to save my ass? There's that stuff. And then after that, and he gets kicked out, that's when the line delivery starts picking up again because he's like somewhat still inquiring about it. But it's that last 40 minutes that drag because I don't want to know anything else, really. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but like the line delivery keeps picking up. And every time it happens, I'm like, you don't need to ask that question because you're not getting it answered and nothing else is happening from it.
I picked up on the pacing too, and two things occurred to me. One, it's the antithesis of what New York really is, because New York is way more bustling, that people don't like slowly walk down the street. But what I think really impressed me about the pacing was if it were faster, I think you would lose a lot of the nuance of the acting.
How
the
so?
body language, the facial expression, the delivery that Tom and Nicole gave because of that slow pacing was just outstanding. And I remember sitting there, like there was a scene where Tom went into, he picked up that hooker on the street, right? She invited him in and her name was Domino. And he's still trying to figure out what he wants to do. And they're kind of playing, just talking to each other and such. And then she slowly leans in to kiss him and they kiss. It was really slow paced. Mm-hmm. And then she slowly backs up from the kiss. But go back and look at his facial expression. I think the facial expression there, for the few seconds that it takes her to depart from his lips, is just, it's unbelievable. It tells so much in just the way he delivered that one moment. And I kept thinking, like, you know, Kubrick sent him behind the camera saying, okay, let's do that again. Mm-hmm. And the actor's saying, well, what do you want us to do different? Like, I don't know, just do it again. And eventually they would get it. And I really think that it's Kubrick's approach in trying to play out that I don't know, the lesser details to the scenes. And it is a really long movie, and you're right. The second half, the second third, or the last third of the movie, it does tend to drag on. But I really think you'd miss a lot if you had a quicker paced film.
Do you think it'll take away from what we're watching? Like, I know you're saying the elements kind of help it with the facial expression and everything, but do you think having these, or like, I guess, I don't want to say speeding it up would take away from the overall not feeling, just
I think it'd take away from the overall story.
Okay,
Like the
yeah.
intent and the message that Kubrick's trying to communicate. If you bring in a director who's more into the action-packed, you got to get a lot of visuals in really quick, and then that's kind of the punchline of the film. But this is way more, and Kubrick had that license. He could take as long as he wanted. It was Kubrick. They weren't going to say no to him. So I really think he was flushing out this message, this narrative, based on the pacing that was part of it.
No. Okay. I thought you were going to say that. No, but I will agree with the facial expression. There's a scene when when they're smoking weed at the beginning. That's a very long scene.
Yeah.
And they're just, I was sitting there thinking like, I don't really, there's who was it? David Lynch. He was on set one time, and then one of the assistants or whatever, someone on set was just, what if we cut it down? And you just start getting irritated. Like, why do we need to cut sets down? Like, why are we cutting? No one gives a shit how long a scene lasts for. And that scene goes on, I want to say about 4 or 5 minutes, maybe longer. But it felt awkward in the sense because of their delivery and because of the conversation that they're having of what was she was saying how some guys wanted to have sex with her at the party, and then she was saying how he said she was beautiful and it makes sense, and then he was going back and they're going back and forth. Oh, I'm only beautiful. That's the only reason why a man wants to talk to me, XYZ. And I don't know, it just felt abnormal because I think I don't know, just from today's time, a girl wouldn't talk that slow and that calm when they're being accused of just being beautiful or whatever. And, it sounds degrading at the same time. I don't know, just things like that kind of stuck out to me.
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder what a real conversation like that would be with. But that occurs to me during that scene in particular was how awkward it felt for me as a viewer, just to be able to be witness to that sense of intimacy, that conversation going on between the two of them. It felt awkward to me too. But I think, again, it's Kubrick's intent of making us feel that way as a viewer. So speed it up, less body language, make it more about the dialogue. The way she kind of moves, not slinks around, but the way she moves around the room when they're having that scene, it's just like, ugh.
And the lighting and the costuming or lack thereof kind of adds to it because it allows us as viewers to be in the room with they have this orange warm lighting and they're in their underwear and whatever undergarments and they're just sitting there and the camera just goes back and forth. It's not over the shoulder, but there's not a lot of different angles being used right there, and it kind of lets us sit there with them. One, it feels weird because Tom Cruise in his underwear and Nicole Kidman's in her bra set, but the conversation they're having, and it's so. I feel like maybe that's how adults talk. Married couples talk. They're so calm and they don't have to yell all the time. I mean, that's with people in general, but in high school or whatever, everyone's yelling at each other in arguments and whatever. I do want to pose a question. I know we're kind of not all over, but I just want to pose a question. So, do you think there is a concrete ending as to who that lady was that was trying to save him? Do you have an answer?
Yes.
Yes?
I think yes.
Okay. No? Don't know?
Don't know.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's that lady that was like drugged out with the what's his name?
Oh,
Sidney Pollack's character,
Christmas party?
Ziegler. Yeah. There's like a girl that was in there that was like drugged out and was like kind of slumped over in the couch, right?
yeah.
And
Nice slump.
yeah, I know, I'm good at that. But then they were like, so Dr. Wright comes in, patches her up kind of, and gets her to come back too. And then later at the party, no, not the party. At the cult thing.
Yes.
She's up there on the top balcony, right? And she's like, leave him alone or whatever. Take me in his place or something like that. And so then that switch off happens and you don't know what happens to that character afterwards, but then later like reveals from the scene, Bill's reading a paper and it says like this model recently overdosed, right? And so he goes and checks like the body, goes and asks, and he's like, was that the person that was there? And names, bro. Ziegler, it was Sidney Pollack's character.
Yeah.
Ziegler's like, nothing out of the ordinary happened to her after she left the cult area. Like, she went back home like normal, right? No harm came to her there. It's like, well, if that's the case, how did I see her dead body just earlier? And he's like, well, remember, she's druggy. You said it yourself, it was only a matter of time, which is something that he said in that Christmas party scene where he's like, well, if she keeps this up, it's only a matter of time for sure she ODs and kills herself on accident. So for me, that was enough concrete ending for it. But I'm really interested to know why you don't think it's a concrete ending.
I just don't know. I don't know. I think there's enough ambiguity in there that, well, okay, so I guess my questioning goes back to how when Tom Cruise's character enters the cult party, the cult situation, he's masked.
Yes.
But she points him out almost immediately. Like this savior, this woman in a mask, we don't know who she is, like identifies him as being an outsider and comes to his rescue. How could she possibly know that that was Dr. Bill from the Christmas party?
I have an answer.
Yes.
Whenever he walks in the door, he's not wearing the mask.
No one saw him though.
The door person did, though.
Yeah, I know that,
Yeah.
but she didn't see him because there was a door separating. He walks in.
I thought it was an archway because you could see into the room. So, or maybe I missaw.
No, he enters the front door,
Right.
maskless.
so the porch, the front door, and then he puts his mask on, and then somebody else opens the door to the big room where everybody
okay.
is.
Yeah. See, now I'm thinking about it.
Is it his wife?
Huh?
Is it his wife that sees him?
I don't think so.
She had that very vivid dream.
Yeah, the vivid dream was kind of odd, but I don't know. Something in the way that the characters spoke, it didn't sound the same. And yes, there's a mask on; it's going to be muffled, but like, I don't know.
The voice didn't sound the same.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like it matched.
Okay.
Because I was also like looking at the hair, because like you could see the hair very clearly, but that person's hair was way too straight compared to. I'm so bad with names.
Alice?
Yeah, Alice's hair. Alice's was more curly, and like, yeah, you can get curly hair to like straighten out,
Yeah.
but like, you could almost see the texture of it, like through the film grain from like the old camera. Like you could almost see the texture. Like hers was a little bit more wavy, but the person that was trying to save Bill had more of like a.
Well, she didn't have the same
powder
body.
hairs. Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, I was just posing a question. I don't know. I was just saying, well, what do you think about, okay. I just wanted to ask that.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to say it's the hooker, but I'm so fine with not knowing. I think that kind of adds onto the mystery of it, and it could be anyone.
To me, that's not the mystery.
What's your mystery? Who's there?
How did the mask get in the room?
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, next to his
that's
wife's
another one
pillow.
too,
Yeah, messed me up. I think that messed me up the first time I watched it, and with the piano going, I don't have
So
an
much
answer for that
mystery, bro.
either.
So much mystery.
Do you have one?
No, I mean, but like to me, if I were to walk into my house after a long night, get ready to go to bed, my wife is asleep in bed, and then see like the one piece of evidence that could piece me at the scene of the crime, scene of the infidelity, I would think, okay, first of all, like I'm busted. But second of all, like how did somebody get in my house to place this here without nobody detecting it?
Yeah, it had to have been recent because she was asleep.
Yes.
So they were just there.
Completely underestimating the power of that group.
Yeah.
I mean, how did they get the mask in the first place?
Better question: how are we all supposed to sleep at night now?
Yeah.
Well, if any of us go missing recently,
I was kind of nervous about this because I think that Reddit thing that when the guy said he saw an uncut version, not uncut version, alternate version, yeah, that he's been like noticing things or feeling weird or something.
getting followed by people in trench coats. On the
I mean,
way
it's
home,
fake,
like,
but
This is why you should never pay any attention to social media.
internet, especially Reddit, no less. But
I don't even use Reddit. I
don't
just I was just curious.
yeah,
I knew that alternate ending was a thing. I knew I saw it on Reddit. That's the only reason why I checked it again, just so I can give context as to what this alternate ending was. But But yeah, that's a very good point. It doesn't get answered. And I'm so fine with that. I think it's rare for me to, unless a movie is like trying, it's knowingly weird. Like you can't piece anything together. Like, have you seen, I'm Thinking of Ending Things?
Seen what?
It's a movie called I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
No.
Everywhere, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yes.
I think that's a complex movie.
It's complex, yeah. I would say it's complex.
I want to say I'm Thinking of Ending Things is more. I've seen bits and pieces of Everything Everywhere, but I'm Thinking of Ending. That really messed me up. I had to do some real research to try and piece what I just watched. And it's rare unless it's a movie like that makes me want to know more. But for the most part, I'm so fine with not knowing what the ending's supposed to be, unless like kind of like a cliffhanger thing that I'm kind of. But this isn't a cliffhanger. I don't like to say it's a cliffhanger. It's more of up to viewer interpretation.
So Kubrick started out in high school. I don't know if you guys know this. He started out as a photographer.
Oh.
He first fell in love with the visual arts as a photographer, and he almost immediately went into filmmaking right after high school. And he still liked to dabble with photography his entire career. And there's a scene outside, I think it's the Sonata Cafe, where Nick Nightingale was playing, that it has some black and white photos of the musicians on the wall.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise twice walked up to there and looked at the pictures, and including to see Nick Nightingale. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm like, I bet Kubrick shot those photos.
Think so?
Yeah.
Might have.
I could see him doing that. I mean, I don't know. I guess I could probably look it up, but I just thought, you know what? Way to go.
I have a question for you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this your first time? I assume this is not your first time watching this.
The movie?
Yeah.
Correct.
What? Do you remember your first viewing experience with this?
Yes. I think I was more, yes. I think this time I was thinking it more as from a director's point of view. I was paying more attention to the details. Like the pacing was something that really popped out to me this viewing than it did in previous viewings. But I will tell you, I do remember very specifically the first time was the lighting, like hands down the lighting. I could just see Kubrick placing every light bulb in every one of those rooms, directing the light exactly how he wanted it. I don't know for a fact that he intentionally directed the light exactly like that, but I'm sure he had visual control over all of his scenes.
It really works well with what's the shallow depth of field? Like you get just a big circle in the back. I do have a question. I've been waiting to ask it. What did you have more to say about the lighting in your viewing?
No, that was it.
Okay. Is this a Christmas movie?
Yes. Duh.
Is this a Christmas movie? Now, I don't know what we classify.
Oh, wait, hang on. It might not be. I don't know if it takes place on Christmas.
It is Christmas time though, and it does not happen Christmas Day because they are shopping for Christmas toys at the end. But just posing the question because I know some people have different. Batman Returns. People say Batman Returns isn't a Christmas movie. Die Hard's up for debate.
Die Hard's not up for debate.
Die Hard is not up for debate.
It's
not a Christmas.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's 100%.
Christmas movie.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So this movie is a Christmas movie.
This is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, because I think of the way it ends.
They're going Christmas shopping.
No.
F word.
No.
Why?
Because of them reconciling their relationship. I mean, really coming to terms of the previous 2 hours, 35 minutes, and realizing that.
Yeah.
We are it for each other.
I have a follow-up thing for that too later.
I mean, this movie is about, it's about commitment. That's what this movie's all about.
Yeah.
Commitment to relationship, commitment to marriage, and the tribulations that they both go through. And boy, they both went through the ringer and finally come to the end. So because I feel like it's a better ending, it's a Christmas movie.
Now, if it was a bad ending and she hands on papers for divorce.
I'd probably still call it a Christmas movie just because Die Hard.
Luke?
Yeah.
Would you?
I don't know. I think for me, if it's a Christmas movie, it might have to be like on Christmas. I don't know. I haven't thought about that one too hard.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's my, usually he asks me, or what do you call them? Critical thinking questions? Deep thoughts.
Yeah, I'm about to mention mine.
Oh, okay. All right, that was mine for the week, but for this episode. I've never done them, but what's your question?
Yeah. So as Greg was just saying, this is a movie about like relationships and marriages, right? And these two kind of start off a little foul towards each other. Like the moment they get to that Christmas party, Alice is chopping it up with some other guy at the dance floor, and Tom Cruise, being Tom Cruise, walking around with two girls like around his arms and whatever. And he doesn't like outright say that he doesn't want to have sex with any of them. He always like dodges around it, so it's like kind of vague if like he might do it, he might not. You don't know. And that's kind of the point. So to me, that's just kind of like, that's crazy behavior. And then like, that's when we get kind of that bedroom scene as they're both talking about it, where Alice reveals like that sexual fantasy she had with some other guy previously. And he's getting on her about dancing with the guy or whatever as well. And she's like, weren't you walking around with two girls like around your arms? That kind of thing. But at the end, you do kind of get this moment, like Greg said, where these characters kind of realize that they're going to stick together. They are meant for each other, that sort of thing. So
Maybe not forever.
maybe not. But
Point.
my deep thought here is, how are you able to be certain of faithfulness in your relationships?
Movie podcast, Luke.
I don't know.
It's called
Luke.
deep thought, isn't it?
How are you able to be certain in your relationships? You
I know it sounds like cliche.
see what I just did there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. But it sounds cliche, but I really do think it boils down to that feeling. Like you just know. Like I know it sounds like cliche, right? But like, shout out Cameron if you're watching. But whenever we started talking and like dating or whatever, yeah, like we both immediately knew that we were like, we're not gonna like beat around the bush with it. Like we're just locked in once this starts. And it's been like that since, and it's been great. So I really do think like it just is that feeling. Like you'll both just know, be like, yeah, we're gonna make it work, and then you're off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Cooper, you're a married man. How do you know?
I will tell you that it takes work. I mean, not so much to not stray, but to be in a committed relationship, it takes work, it takes effort, it takes being present, it takes listening, it takes communication, it takes a lot.
Cam.
Yeah, I don't have a significant other like you two, but I have been in a relationship. Yeah, I mean, still learning. Not that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. Like I'm just out here cheating and whatever. I'm not, but yeah. I think I don't know. I still learning. I'll say that much.
I think everybody's still learning though.
Yeah, I mean, but you're learning with someone. You know, I'm kind of like, I don't have a girlfriend at the moment, so I don't have anyone to practice. Have anyone to learn, huh?
Back in high school, it'd be like, I need to practice kissing. For the
Yeah.
first time.
But yeah, I think hearing other people's experiences and my friends, or they'll talk to me about things and their trust and their problems with everything. So I'm just hearing what they have going on. I'm like, oh, maybe I like that part, or I don't like that you do that, or I'll get it. Yeah, just pretty much from my friends, and just be like, I'll just picking up tricks from or tips from other people that I know. Yeah. But I think that is a big factor when you're I don't say dealing with somebody, but when you're with someone. Yeah. I know I feel like I just said a whole lot of nothing, but
no, I know what you mean, because like I feel like the phrase "when you know" is like a well-known thing relatively. Yeah. And every time I heard it, to me, it was just like the same thing as like it is what it is, where it's like that says nothing. That doesn't mean a thing. And then I lived through it and I was like, wow, I really did know when I know. So,
did you know?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. How long have you been married?
11 years.
11? Yeah. Live for love, man. It's a great thing. Yeah, I haven't been there. When I knew I don't.
Must not have been the right person yet then.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think like that, you know. Just you know, you weren't the right person for me. It just didn't work out. Yeah, this isn't a relationship podcast. We're talking about movies and all that. But very good question though.
Deep thoughts.
I was really thinking. I was choosing my words very carefully, trying to. But that was a good question. That was fun. Is there anything else we like to say, comment on about this movie?
I'm all out of notes here.
Out of notes, Mr. Cooper.
Well, for those who aren't familiar with Kubrick's work, there's a ton of great movies out there. Definitely go check them out. Yeah, big fan.
Clockwork Orange is very, very good.
Clockwork Orange.
I've only seen it once, but I feel like that's all I need. Very good movie. Dad showed me that. What?
That's pretty amazing, Dad.
You know, my parents
What was he trying to tell you?
My parents were cinephiles. That's what
Yeah.
I wrote.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
My mom, she
Yeah.
She showed me a lot of movies when I was young, my favorites. Yeah, so my dad too, he showed me a lot of movies. He showed me Kids, that NC-17 movie I was talking about. It's not porn. I know it sounds like porn, NC-17, a movie called Kids, no. But yeah. But all right, we do a segment, I don't know if you're familiar, we rate movies at the end out of 5 stars. So if you want to go first or hear ours first.
Let's go for it, please.
Us?
Sure.
You first, Cam.
Doesn't really have. Okay.
He was looking at you and he said
he
it.
did, yeah. I will give this movie. What I give it on Letterboxd? I think I give it a 4.5. 4.5 stars.
Don't worry, if it wasn't that on Letterboxd, I'll tell you later.
Was it that on Letterboxd?
I think.
Okay. It's subject to change on Letterboxd, but there's not much I can say is wrong with the movie. And the only reason I can't give it, the only reason I can't give it a 5, and we talk about this kind of often, is for me to give it a 5, I need to walk away feeling it differently or feeling different than I walked in. Like, open my eyes to something, make me want to learn something or do. Well, you know what? Maybe I can give it a 5 because I don't care about conspiracy theories, but I chose to care about this, and do
I guess you
research.
walked away fearing for your life as you walked back to your car.
Yeah.
Like,
What did I give it on Letterboxd? Eyes wide shut. I give it a 4. I might have to bump that. Can I give it a 5? Oh,
you haven't given it a definitive rating. You went from 4 to 4.5, maybe 5.
can I give this a 5?
Can you?
I'll give it a 4.5. It didn't give me that feeling. I just cared.
4.5 locked in.
Yep. Luke.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
4.
Yeah, I think 4 is pretty reasonable. Thanks for that this time.
Yeah, I forgot last time.
But yeah, 4, the pacing I think is really what drags it down for me.
Mhm.
I know it's only the last 40 minutes, and that's kind of a short period of time in the grand scheme of things.
It's not. 40 minutes on a movie, that's like half.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, whatever.
But like, I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me. I was like you don't need to say the same line 5 different times in a scene and make a scene that could be 3 minutes last 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a thing where there's those mannerisms that are important to linger there. It's just you're just repeating it and lingering. And then the thing with Ziegler is not really anything that drags it down. It's just something worth noting still, that it's just like I saw him and I was like, yeah, I know what you're up to.
I'm familiar with your game.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Cooper?
Well, I feel like it has to be parked at 4.9. And the reason why,
4.9.
yeah, it's because Kubrick didn't finish the film.
It's not his touch.
It's not, it wasn't 100% Kubrick. And that really bothers me.
That's a very good way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Especially the rating too. I don't think we've ever done anything that doesn't have like halves before, so that's interesting.
No one's ever given it a 4.9. It's always it's always a 0 or 0.5.
Yeah.
You're the first.
Congrats.
Cooper's the first. 4.9. Yeah, it's a very good movie. If you have the time, if you have 3 hours to spare, go watch it. It's not on streaming though. So how'd you watch it?
I own it.
Nice. If you don't, or if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend.
Oh, and The Shining too.
Yes.
We could have talked about The Shining.
We talked about that already, I think, on here.
Damn.
Yeah. I need to rewatch it. I don't think I had the best time watching it first viewing. So, but yeah, that has been our episode of Two Dudes Talk Movies, talking about Eyes Wide Shut. I think I have one more episode, and then I'm retired from this. 1 or 2.
I think it's 1, yeah.
I think.
Hit the applause.
I think I'll.
Is there a sound effect for sad applause? Do we have that?
This is the sad applause.
Oh.
You got that's the sad.
There's a
one.
trombone though, I thought, right? Surely there's a trombone.
That just sounds like pity. Where's the sad clap? Yeah, that's a happy applause.
Celebration there, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll make it to episode 93. I think
Yeah, we're in the 90s somewhere.
I think last episode was 90 exactly. This is 91, and next week will be 92, so maybe 92 episodes. That's crazy. We'll talk about that on the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost done.
End of an era.
Yeah, so
Now you get to go on to adult stuff.
yeah. That sucks. Being an adult. But yeah, Mr. Cooper, thank you so much for coming on this episode. It's been a very, very fascinating conversation with you after hours. I know you usually go home, but thank you for sticking around talking to us this evening.
Yeah,
This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity, Luke.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Again, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week talking about.
Well, are we going to talk about a movie on the last episode if it is last?
Is it the last episode?
Let's check my calendar. We can check.
I don't remember. One of these episodes. It's either next episode, next Friday, or the Friday after.
Because finals week starts on the 5th, right? And that's 2 weeks. Next week is the 28th on a Monday. And I don't think we're going to record on a finals week.
The Den doesn't publish on.
Yeah, the Den's last print is next week as well, I think. So I think next episode is the end.
Or you can just show up and be ready to record an episode. Nobody be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Gosh,
Yeah,
that's next week is my last episode.
I think. Well,
That's a really long B.
Yeah. Dude, no. All
my
right.
ear hurts now.
Sorry about that. All right, well, let's get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week for probably my last episode. I'm Cam,
I'm Luke.
And my name's Greg.
and we will see you next week. Bye.
Peace.